Are you a mom who loves fun, momming, and protecting your family? If you want to meet some of the most amazing people from all over the gun world and beyond, you are in the right place. Tune in for encouragement and sometimes just courage for moms and women just like you, who are curious about shooting but are intimidated or just don't know where to start. Hey, all you tough mothers out there. I have a super cool guest today. Her name is Lil Kimble, and she is a strength and conditioning coach, powerlifting coach, and elite powerlifter. And she's actually talking to me from Durban, South Africa, which is super cool. And I just can't wait to share with you her story and hopefully inspire you guys as far as like physical fitness and like mental strength. Lil, can you tell me a little bit about kind of what you do and how you got into it?
So firstly, thanks for having me on here. It's so great to talk to women across the world, especially with the purpose that you have in mind for the show. I love the idea of it, and I'm just honored to be here. So I'm a strength and conditioning coach. I come from a background of drug addiction. I was addicted to cocaine for almost 10 years, and strength and conditioning literally saved my life.
Wow.
If I could not find powerlifting, if I never found the sport, if I never found strength in every sense, not just in the physical sense of the training and the sport that I take part in, I don't think I would be here today. So the sport and strength training is very dear to my heart. It's taken me through the hardest times. And so I've been in the strength industry for about 13 years now. I'm currently coaching one of the biggest powerlifting sides in South Africa. I've got athletes across the world. So I've come a long way in the last 10 years. And like I said, powerlifting saved my life personally, but it's helped me change the life of so many people, so many women who've taken to the sport, who've used powerlifting to rescue themselves from their own troubles. I feel like the strength industry and powerlifting sort of attracts people who've been through struggles, because it is a hard sport. It is tough as hell, and you need to have an incredibly strong mind to compete in this sport. And this is why I say that it kind of attracts people that have been through struggles. So that's really my background, a little bit about my background and how I got here.
That's amazing. So, okay, so many questions. But how did you find the powerlifting? Like, I know like a lot of people have struggled with addiction, and it's incredibly difficult to overcome and get out of it because it's a mindset thing as well, right? It's like this coping mechanism that we deal with, this escapism, and replacing that with something healthy is amazing, but it's extremely hard. So how did you get into it? Like, I would never have picked powerlifting.
So when they, addicts have addictive personalities, and you kind of replace one addiction with another. So when I was following my 12-step program, I threw myself into fitness because I thought that, if there's one way to recovery, I need to start getting physically healthy. And it was quite challenging because when you've thrived on detriment for so long, your body no longer responds to physical output, so day in and day out in the gym after 6-7 months and not seeing any results at all. As a woman, you know what it's like going into the gym and following a diet and not getting the results. It makes you extremely despondent. So it was a tough road, but it was a road I felt I needed to get onto with regards to building physical strength and just building my health up again. So I dedicated my life to training. I went in 110%. And with all the training that I was doing, I became obsessed with human movement, which is what took me down the route to start studying and getting into it professionally. But I didn't know anything about powerlifting at the time, but I always trained the compound lifts because I know the benefits physically and mentally squatting, bench pressing, and deadlifting could give you. And I was in the gym one day, I was in a commercial gym, and I deadlifted a weight that I thought that woman just at my size did. I just thought it was a normal weight. And one of the coaches in the gym came up to me and said, wow, that's really impressive for a small girl. There's a powerlifting comp in 2 weeks' time. Why don't you come down and get on the platform and see what you can do? And I was like, well, I know what the sport entails, the 3 lifts, but I don't know what it's about. Anyways, I walked into that meet and I unofficially broke a deadlift world record. in the federation that I was competing in, which was quite insane.
Wow.
Again, like I said, I did not realize the strength that I developed in all the time that I dedicated to the gym. And for me, yes, breaking a world federation record, it's amazing, of course it is. But for me, it was knowing what I had overcome, that I'd gotten myself to this point from where I was 3 years previously to now stepping up on a competitive platform and unofficially breaking a world record. It changed my life. It absolutely changed my life. It made me so hungry to achieve so much more. And again, not for the world record, not for the national record, not for the accolades, but I was like, damn, I cannot believe how much I've achieved. And if it wasn't for that moment, there's been many times in my life where it's been very easy to go back down that dark road. You know, you have issues with family, you lose a friend, whatever the case is, it's very, very easy as an addict to go back down that road. And as soon as I got involved in powerlifting, I was hooked, and nothing could steer me away from being better every time I got up on the platform. And that's why I say it saved my life. You know, I had competitions every 6 months where I had to be on weight for that meet. I had to improve my lifts. And now, 10 years later, I've won 5 world championships. I hold over 20 world records, European records, and those things are great. Yes, fantastic accolades. I'm very proud of the things I've achieved, but looking back on where I was, that's what that means to me. It's just, it pushes every time I get up on that platform and I compete and I break another record, it just pushes me further and further away from that person that I once was.
Yeah, that is amazing. And I love hearing stories like that, because it's something that a lot of people like struggle with. We struggle with not just drug addiction, but we struggle with like relationships that are bad for us, or destructive behaviors, or struggle with negative thoughts. And there's all different types of destructive habits that we've built because we're unhappy with something in our lives. And for you to find something that has given you extreme satisfaction, drive, and purpose, like, yes, that is exactly it. And I'm so, I don't know, I'm overwhelmed to like hear that, because I think it's just amazing. I think a lot of people need to hear that it is possible to do that and overcome, our struggles and our fears and do something that we can truly excel at. So you've won all these competitions, and so now you're training other people. Do you have people that come into your program that have like similar backgrounds as you? Like, have you seen that kind of change? Or
I do. A lot of them, yes, like I said, the sport sort of attracts people who have struggled. I have a lot of women involved in the sport purely because they see and understand the physical changes that I've been through, and that they want to achieve those things for themselves. So at first, I've got a lot of women involved in the sport purely out of the physical benefits. But the people that I see survive, because like I said, powerlifting is hard. It is a difficult sport. And the people that I see survive are the divorcees, the people that have lost family and friends to tragedies, the people that have had struggles, addictions. Those are the ones that I see and I've taken to world championship platforms. Those are the ones that I've seen break records. Those are the ones I've seen who have really excelled. And I'm not saying that you need a struggle in order to achieve. It just seems like those people have the mental grit and resolve it takes to really, really get far in the sport. You know, you're born with talent, but to develop the skill and the tenacity that you need, I mean, it's all I always say to my athletes. You know, the sport is 40% physical and it is 60% mental. You know, you can have all the talents in the world, but it is not going to outdo someone who really wants to win.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, it just sounds like you're not just changing people's physicalities and helping them achieve goals, but you're really changing people's lives, which is so much more rewarding.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. It really, really is. And like I said, awesome. You know, I've got a lot of men and women who also aren't striving to be great powerlifters. They just want to be better and have a bigger deadlift and a bigger squat, and just seeing how they have mentally evolved. It's so incredible on so many levels.
I love that. So are there like so you kind of said like the people that like are kind of coming from, you know, injury or traumatic events tend to be the ones that are like, that make the biggest changes and make the biggest gains. Other than like, you know, having that same drive, like what would you say are like the top 3 things that someone would need to like make that massive shift? Like, so you said mindset, and then there's the training. Is there like, I mean, I'm guessing diet or, exercise or something, but
nutrition obviously plays a huge role, but it's that consistency. Powerlifting and strength training as a whole isn't something that is entertaining in any sense. People get bored quickly and they give up quickly because it really is about routine. It's about discipline. It's about doing the same things consistently. And if you are able to go into the gym day in and day out for years on end, squatting, benching, and deadlifting, if you develop the type of consistency and discipline you need to pursue that, I cannot tell you how that carries over to everything in life. I've seen, women just climb the corporate ladder, teachers become better teachers, moms become better moms, because they've built that discipline. They've learned from the sport, and it's just carried over into their lives. So I think that would be one of the big three for me is absolute consistency.
I love that. And, I think that's with anything where you hit a goal and you're absolutely consistent about it. And not only do you get like the benefit of repetition and learning and growing, but there's that fulfilling, like, I can do this. I'm accomplishing this. I think I speak to a lot of women in my day to day and out and about. And a lot of them have these self-defeating beliefs because they failed at something, because they gave up, because it got hard. And then they tried something else and then they failed at that and then it got hard. And so now they have this internal belief of, I'm going to fail at everything that I do. And I think we need more of that encouragement. Like, no, just keep at it. Like, you can fail, just don't quit.
Just keep getting up every single time. You are going to get knocked down.
Absolutely. And so my question to you is, were there any times in like the beginning where you wanted to quit, or were you just like, let's do this? I'm like 100% on board.
10 years down the line, there are still days frequently that I want to quit. It's so easy to walk away. You're having a bad day. You wake up, you're a woman, you've got period pain, you have a headache, you've had a fight with your husband. There are so many reasons to quit, but there are so many reasons not to quit. And it's sticking, I always say this to my athletes when they, obviously people go through this regularly. And I say to them that there are more bad days in training than there are good days. And it's because of those bad days that make us successful. So you do need to just keep getting up. It's like I said, it's that consistency. And yes, I still want to quit many times, but it makes me stronger every time that I don't.
I love that. That's a really good way to look at it. It's just reframing. It's not a failure. It's just a setback, and just keep going.
Absolutely. And every time you get up and keep going, in that moment, you've achieved something. People will so easily just get up and they don't acknowledge what they've just been through, that they stood up and said, that's okay. It's okay to feel like shit today. It's okay. And to still move on from it. And like I said, that's why it carries over to your everyday life in so many ways.
I couldn't agree with you more. So I just noticed when I was on your Instagram, I was kind of scrolling down and watching, and it looked like you went shooting once. And you were like, this is scary, but I'm going to do it. So can you tell me about that experience? Like, why did you go shooting and what was it like?
So if anybody knows South Africa, they know what you hear on the news. South Africa is what they say on the news. It is a dangerous place to live. We carry guns. We have to carry guns because, unfortunately, our policing system in the country is not a system that we can rely on. So we do carry, my husband carries, I carry, we shoot regularly. But in that post that you saw was the first time that I'd shot an AR, which was a very scary experience. I'm used to handling a handgun. I carry a handgun, but I've never actually shot anything more than that because I haven't needed to, Obviously, we got interested in guns and weapons and that purely out of safety. It wasn't a sport or an interest or a hobby for us. It was, we have to learn how to protect ourselves because if we don't, no one's going to do it for us. But with that, once you handle a weapon like that, it's incredibly empowering. And shooting that AR was incredibly empowering. It really, really was. And I was so petrified because you have so much, I don't have to tell you this, you have so much power in your hands, you have so much control that it is absolutely petrifying.
Yeah, it's not something that you should take lightly, but that is incredibly empowering to know, like, I can protect myself, I can be proficient in this, and, you know, maybe on the weekends have a little fun blowing crap up.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
But that's awesome. So tell me a little bit about like the protection, like, how, like, do you guys do training, or like kind of, is that something that's like on everybody's mind out there? Or are you guys just kind of forward with like, we're going to protect ourselves? Or is everyone like, we all protect ourselves?
We are quite forward thinking, my husband and I. You know, we also just move in the kind of circles where people are caring, people are looking to protect themselves. We all know someone who's been badly affected by the crime, and we've had many occasions in our life where we've had to deal with our policing services here, and they haven't come to our rescue. So, like I said, you have to take your life into your own hands. And unfortunately, things aren't bad in South Africa. The crime is horrendous. I love this place. I absolutely love South Africa, and I think it should be on everybody's bucket list, but it's not safe. And yeah, that's kind of why I grew up in a home with guns. So it's always been something that's been in my home. I never carried until I met my husband. He didn't carry either when we met. But again, like I said, just the circles that we move in and the incidents that we've surrounded in. You know, I owned a gym for 7 years, and it meant me waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning and going down into a basement on my own in the dark and unlocking and let the clients in. And these situations kind of called for me having to go, wait a minute, you know, my husband can't escort me to work every day. I can't wait for armed services to get here if something does happen. I need to really, you know, think about what I'm going to do about this. So with regards to training, yes, we do go, we train regularly. We should train more, I feel, because of the situation that we live in, but we just don't have either the time or we don't have access to the training facilities. You know, we are, again, quite behind. This is a third world country, so we don't have access to a lot of specialists in the field, especially in the city that we live in. It's quite a small city. So when we do get the opportunity to train a lot more, we do, and we do get the opportunity to work with specialists, we really do try our best so that we can be as proficient as possible.
I love that. And I mean, kudos to you guys for actually going out and being perfect, you know, learning that. I mean, there's one thing to just buy a gun, and then there's another to be like, this is a responsibility. I have to train. I have to be proficient, not just for yourself, but like, you don't want to hurt other people. You want to be able to make good decisions.
Well, that's the thing. And we have a lot of friends and family members who keep their weapons at home, but they're locked away in a safe. And in my mindset, you know, someone comes into my property, what are you going to say? Sorry, wait a minute. I'm just going to go get my weapon. No, you know, you need to have it on you at all times. You need to be responsible with it. You need to know how to handle it and be fast access. So
absolutely. Yeah. That's really cool. I mean, not that you have to, but that you guys were kind of proactive about it and that you did it. And yeah, thank you for sharing that, because I think a lot of women have that, you know, I mean, if you look at your average woman, I would say that you were probably better prepared to defend yourself than your average, you know, not powerlifting woman. But you're kind of like, yeah, I get that I'm a world-class powerlifter, but I still cannot hold my own against a large man or a group of men or women. Like, it just, you know, it's an equalizer.
I'm still a 52 kg woman that's going to be easily overpowered by a man who's bigger than me. You know, I may be a powerlifter, but that doesn't really mean much in everyday life. And I don't want to rely on other people. I've always been quite independent in the way that I think. And when it comes to security, you know, I need to know that I am my last chance, my first and my last chance.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Just thank you for sharing that, because I do want to encourage other women that you absolutely can overcome your fears. I mean, you can absolutely replace bad, negative habits with positive, like, healthy habits that can like change your life, can inspire you. And then you can absolutely protect yourself in many different ways, like mentally, physically, emotionally. There's all these different things that you can do to kind of change your life. Because I know a lot of women, especially now, are afraid for themselves, you know, like when things were getting kind of nutty out here and there was, you know, a little rioting and there was like lots of misinformation. They were scared. they were really scared to go out on their own. And, myself included, I go out with my son alone all the time. And you never know, somebody just might have mental illness or just, a chip on their shoulder, and they just decide, okay, this is my victim and I just don't want to be that person. So thank you.
It's really a great mindset to have. And I just, with the situation with abuse against women across the world, I feel that we do need to stand up a lot more and do what we can to look after ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a whole package deal, like if you are, unhealthy and you feel sick all the time, like you can't protect yourself, or if your mind isn't like clear, you can't protect yourself. If you don't have the tools, you can't protect yourself. And obviously we don't want to live life in fear, but you want to be prepared for whatever happens.
It's the way and prepared.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you, Lil. I really appreciate you taking the time to share your experience with us and a little bit about what you do. If there's anyone out there that wants to check out what Lil is doing, she is amazing. She's got some just phenomenal photos. She is in amazing shape for those of you that are listening and not watching. Such an inspiration. She's on Instagram under Lil and then it's _Kimble.
Yes.
Is there any other way that they can get a hold of you or reach out or?
I'm really only on Instagram and Facebook, so also Lil Kimble on Facebook. I have a website, it's lilkimble.com. They can reach me. I'm always happy to reply to DMs. I'm not one of those that leave my direct messages floating. I love to chat to women who are interested in strength, empowerment, everything that you talk about and you believe in. If there's women out there who need to reach out, I'm always here to listen, and I love chatting to women who are in our position.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Lil. I really appreciate it. You heard it, ladies. Get out there. If you want to talk to Lil about powerlifting or just changing your life, reach out to her. And you guys get out there and don't be afraid.
Great job. You made it to the end. You are one tough mother. If you enjoyed this podcast and want to support the work that we do and keep the good lovin' coming, subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes, Spotify, wherever you're listening. What's that? You're one of those crazy mother followers that wants more of this nonsense? You got it. Subscribe to the Moms Love Guns YouTube channel, follow us at Moms Love Guns on Instagram, and join our free private Facebook group to connect with other women just like you in an encouraging and non-judgmental community. If you want to share even more love, share your new favorite community with a friend or all of your friends, maybe even a few enemies, just to be safe. Get out there, overcome your fears, be not afraid. You have got this.